Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar, which is aimed at our on-programme and endpoint assessment for the beauty therapist, Level 2 and Level 3 apprenticeship standards. We will allow time for any questions you may have at the end of this session. My name is Sarah Fioda and I'm your Hair and Beauty Technical Advisor, and joining me today for this webinar will be our Industry Manager, Emma McKay, and our Lead Independent Endpoint Assessor, Hayley Clark. Please note, I am working from home and hopefully my little toy poodle will behave herself this afternoon. So just some housekeeping for you. If you can please confirm that you can hear me by raising your hand in the function bar in the right hand corner of your screen. That'd be really, really grateful. You can use this function box to enter your questions and we will monitor these as they come through the presentation. This webinar is being recorded and you will receive a copy of it as you have registered and a CPD certificate. So let's now move on to the agenda of today's webinar. So we'll be looking at, we've got some really exciting news actually for you. We'll be looking at our Level 3 Advanced Beauty Therapist update, and that'll be presented to you by Emma McKay, your Industry Manager. I'll be going through the Level 2 Beauty Therapists, our City and Guilds offer, also our on-programme resources for the Level 2 and our endpoint assessment for the Level 2. Just a quick update on flexibilities, dispensations and discretions, and then we'll be finishing off with areas of good practice and a LEPA update. And then obviously we'll come back to your questions and answers. Now I'm going to hand over to Emma McKay, your Industry Manager, who is going to talk you through the advancements on the Advanced Beauty Therapist and the development where we are up to. Hi, Emma.
Hi Sarah, thank you. Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar. So I'm here this afternoon to talk you through our City and Guilds offer for the Level 3 Advanced Beauty Therapist. So if you could kindly go to the next slide, please.
Yep, sorry.
So we are delighted that we've been able to let you know, I think it was just before the Christmas break, that we have now begun our development for our City and Guilds offer for the Level 3 Advanced Beauty Therapist standard. This standard was approved and ready for use approximately May 2020, so just as the COVID pandemic started. Now City and Guilds and everybody here at City and Guilds, we've been really prioritising all of the standards that we were already in, supporting the industry recovery during the last sort of 18 months in particular. Now that we're coming out the other end, we feel that we're coming out the other end, we're ready to start to build further to our hair and beauty apprenticeship portfolio. So we are in the process of developing a Level 3 diploma for the Advanced Beauty Therapist qualification. Now we've found that a non-mandatory qualification is a fantastic solution to help support all of the apprentices on their on-programme journey. This very much mirrors the offer that we have for the Level 3 Advanced and Creative Hair Professional for the hairdressing standards. Whilst this is non-mandatory, as we say, we find it's a fantastic support tool. It's fully mapped to the standard, fully mapped to the endpoint assessment. It supports the apprentice, provider and the employer, all being able to provide adequate and sufficient evidence as part of that on-programme journey and helps them really prepare to be successful for that endpoint assessment. We've also started to develop our endpoint assessment offer. Oh, sorry, that's okay, we can go to that slide. So our endpoint assessment offer is going to be ready as well. We are in the process, or I'm in the process of completing our submission for the register. So the RETAP Endpoint Assessment Organisations Register. As soon as we have the full approval, you'll be able to see us on that list there, and then you'll be able to start making your ILR return nominations to be able to use City and Guilds. Thanks, Sarah. So the Level 3 Advanced Beauty Therapist endpoint assessment is slightly different to that of the Level 2 Beauty Therapist. There are 3 assessment components. So there's going to be a knowledge test, there's going to be a practical observation, but there'll also be alongside that a technical demonstration. Now that's very similar to a question and answer type session. However, because there's so many different machines and equipment as part of the scope and range for the Advanced Beauty Therapist Standard, there's going to be limited observation. Actually, oh, I think it's just skipped on slightly. There's going to be limited actual physical observation of the apprentice carrying out practical services for the endpoint assessment. So what the apprentice will do is talk the independent endpoint assessor through lots of the equipment they hadn't used and provide lots of examples of what if. So if their client on the particular assessment day had an oily skin, what machines, what equipment, what techniques would they use? And if they had different types of skin type, body types, different types of objectives, how would they adapt those treatments? And there's also going to be a professional discussion, and the professional discussion is the third assessment method. So it's a level 3 standard. We here at City and Guilds will have an on-programme solution with you with all of our usual fantastic support resources. So we had a meeting actually earlier on today where we talked about the different digital resources that we're going to have available. Obviously, we've got Sarah as a technical advisor. We've got the lead independent assessors to feed into the process. We'll have video resources for you, printable logbooks for you to be able to download from our website. And then we'll also have an endpoint assessment offer as well. So we will keep you posted as soon as dates have been finalised. We're just working through different timescales at the moment. As soon as we've got something, we can give you a sort of definitive dates. Sarah will be able to let you all know, and also your business management team as well. So really exciting, really pleased that we're now well underway with these developments. We can't wait to bring these to the table in the next few months. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you, Emma. Sorry about jumping of slides, ladies and gentlemen. I've got a new laptop and it seems to be very, very sensitive, so do bear with me. Now we're going to take a look at our on-programme and endpoint assessment offer for the level 2 beauty therapist. So our on-programme offer is our 7003 level 2 beauty professional. This is the beauty therapist. You can see we have our QAN number there, and our endpoint assessment offer is our 9129 beauty professional, and that is your endpoint assessment. These are the key numbers that you would need if you would like to search any information on from our website. So what do we have for you here? We have our on-programme qualification handbook, assessor's guide and logbook, and these can be found on our website. Just type in 7003 into the search bar and it'll take you straight to that web page. This is where you'll find all the resources you need to deliver this qualification. Now, while we're on this slide, I just want to talk about the assessment strategy for this qualification. This has been produced in partnership with industry, awarding organisations and HABIA. It outlines the principles and requirements to be applied to assessment of performance and competence, and knowledge and understanding for this qualification. All the information from the strategy can be found in the qualification handbook and the assessor's guide documents. In addition, a full copy of the strategy can be downloaded from the HABIA website. The strategy specifies the evidence requirements for each unit. These are included in the supported evidence sections of each unit in this handbook. This strategy specifies that candidates must sit externally set questions for all units. So we have our assessor's guide there for you, which is a really good, useful tool for you to download to read through and get your head around working with this qualification. We also have our on-programme logbook, and this covers all the core knowledge and skills needed to become a competent beauty therapist. Learners achieving the level 2 diploma in the beauty professional, beauty therapist, can gain employment in a salon as a beauty therapist, carrying out day-to-day tasks such as providing waxing treatments, hand and nail treatments, foot treatments, providing facials, a range of lash and brow treatments, makeup application, and of course, basic body massage treatments. Now we're going to take a look at the structure from the handbook. As you can see here, the level 2 beauty therapist learners must achieve 7 mandatory units from 208 down to 214. The total qualification time is a total amount of time in hours expected to be spent by the learner to achieve this qualification. It includes both guided learning hours, which are listed separately, and hours spent in preparation, study and assessment. And again, if you look at the right hand side of the screen, the summary of assessment methods for the candidate are available there for you. Resources, what do we have? We have our wonderful smart screen to help you. So to support you on your on-programme delivery of the beauty therapist, we have our enhanced smart screen package with all the mandatory core skills, knowledge and behaviours for the beauty therapist to integrate them into their services. And they are professionalism, values, safe working practice, core behaviours. As you may be able to, you may have gone onto the IFATE website and had a look at this yourself. For the endpoint assessment, it talks about the areas that need to be waxed, so hair that needs to be removed, so it's half a leg, including the knee, plus another area from the upper leg, underarm, face or bikini line, one hand and nail treatment and one foot treatment. Now either the foot or the nail treatment or the hand and nail treatment must be included. Also, the opposite polish must be used in the hand to the foot treatment. So if you want to, you could do a French on the hands and a dark polish on the toes. That would be up to you. Now this is nail polish, not gel. So it's nail polish. They also have to do 3 eye and brow artistry treatments. So that's powder, pencil and shape. 1 lash attachment system. That could be strip or flare. And 1 eyelash tint. A facial treatment. And also a makeup look. That's either minimal, natural, intensive or special occasion. And 1 back, neck and shoulder massage treatment. And as I said, our smart screen package is enhanced with all the video learning videos there. You've got revision questions, activities, worksheets, handouts, and all PowerPoints to support you in this delivery. Now let's take a look at the occupational profile of the beauty therapist and a deep dive into the IFATE's assessment plan. So as you can see here, the occupational profile of a therapist is to work independently or as part of a team supported by the manager when completing treatments. It's a key part of the beauty business. The beauty therapist demonstrates a willingness to learn, have an inquiring and curious mind, and are enthusiastic to learn about their chosen career. So what is the role of the beauty therapist? It's to carry out beauty treatments in line with legal and industry organisational requirements, maintaining honesty, integrity and confidentiality at all times, to carry out and maintain and store detailed confidential beauty consultations with clients, choosing the most appropriate treatments and products, to implement and practice safe ways of working for themselves and others in accordance with legal, beauty and organisational requirements, to select, use and applies a range of beauty therapy techniques, products, tools and equipment to provide waxing services, hand and nail treatments, foot treatments, facial skincare treatments, eyelash and eyebrow treatments, makeup application, and of course basic massage treatments for the back, neck and shoulder. So really an all-rounded beauty therapist facilitates a client's journey by making appointments, complete services, handles payments from clients. Therapists provide advice, recommendation and guidance on beauty treatments, further appointments, and should always portray that professional image values to meet the beauty industry requirements and expectations. So let's have a look at the summary of the whole endpoint assessment. So we have 3 stages here for the beauty therapist qualification, and they are stage 1, which is your on program, which is your qualification, stage 2, which is a gateway process, and stage 3 is that endpoint assessment. Now the apprentice must have achieved the level 2 beauty therapy qualification and achieved the required level 1 qualifications or equivalent in English maths, and have taken or made an attempt on the level 2 English and maths test before being placed forward for that endpoint assessment. They are the gateway requirements. And just to note here, the employer, in consultation with the training provider, if appropriate, considers the apprentice can consistently demonstrate the knowledge, skills and behaviours set out by this standard. The apprentice will have been on programme for a minimum of 12 months before taking the endpoint assessment, but please remember this is a 15-month standard or on programme, and that's due to the amount of anatomy and physiology that will be in that this qualification due to the body massage unit. The endpoint assessment must be completed within a 3-month period once the gateway requirements have been met. And the order of timings for the endpoint assessment. So the knowledge test must be successfully completed before the observation, and that's really, really important. So as you can see, knowledge test first, then the observation. The outcome will be graded by the endpoint assessment organisation. Now moving on to the assessment overview. The assessment for the EPA for the beauty therapy standard will be assessed by 2 methods, as I've stated, a knowledge test and observation. On the next couple of slides, I'll break down these 2 assessment methods further for you. So if we take a look at the knowledge test, this will be assessed by multiple choice questions, which will be available online and on demand, and there is no set dates for the test. The knowledge test can be pre-booked for a date and time that suits the apprentice. So if we just take a look here, as it states, the knowledge test will be on screen, computer marked. Again, it'll be away from the day-to-day pressures of work, in a controlled environment, and it doesn't have to be on the employer's premises. The knowledge test may be taken either at the employer's premises, off-site, as I say, in a controlled environment. Again, the knowledge test will be externally set and marked. Questions will be written using language, tone and style expected for the level of standard, and the knowledge test must be invigilated. The knowledge test will take 60 minutes and will be made up of 40 questions that will cover the knowledge requirements of the standard. Now let's take a look at retakes of this knowledge test. So the knowledge test must be successfully completed, a minimum of pass grade achieved before the observation can take place. The apprentice is allowed to resit or retake the knowledge test twice if a pass grade is not achieved. If they do not pass the 3rd attempt, they will have to undertake further learning training before retaking a new EPA, and this is really important. So really make sure that you're doing lots and lots of Q&As with them. The apprentice who achieves a pass grade cannot retake or resit the EPA simply to achieve a higher grade. The apprentice will not be given their full grade until the EPA is completed. If the apprentice fails the knowledge test or observation part of the EPA, they will not be able to retake the EPA until they have completed a further period of learning and the employer and training provider are confident the apprentice is competent and can consistently demonstrate the skills, knowledge and behaviour set out by the beauty professional standard. There will be no restriction put on the grade that the apprentice can achieve when completing a retake. The apprentice employer will need to agree that the resit or retake is an appropriate course of action, and the apprentice should have a supportive action plan to prepare them for a resit or retake. Now let's take a look at the endpoint assessment observation. Again, the apprentice will be observed by an IEPA completing a range of treatments on a number of clients to industry standard within commercial timings. Now, I'm not going to go through all this for you, so I'm just going to give you some key things that we look at here. The apprentice will be observed on the observation where will be a minimum of 2 clients, so that, like we said earlier, 2 waxing areas, so to remove hair from areas identified, 1 hand and nail treatment, 1 foot treatment. Remember about the polish on the nails. It could be a French on the toes. It could be a dark on the fingers. That's totally up to what the client's preference there. There'll be 1 facial treatment, 3 iron brow artistry treatments, a makeup look, 1 back, neck and shoulder massage as well. The employer and training or training provider are responsible for providing a range of suitable customers and clients that allows the apprentice to demonstrate the skills, knowledge and behaviour required to complete the practical skills services that are detailed in the assessment plan. The apprentice will clarify with the IEPA at the start of the observation the factors relating to the number of clients used. If any of the factors become apparent during the observation, the apprentice must notify the IEPA immediately, explaining the contributing factors and a contingency customer client should be utilised. The observation will take about 4 hours 3/4 to a maximum of 5 hours, plus 10% at the discretion of the IEPA, and that is in total, that is excluding breaks. The observation may be supplemented by questioning where clarification is required by the IEPA, and questioning must be completed within the total time allowed of the observation. Now let's look at the grading for this endpoint assessment. So each assessment method will be graded a pass, a fail, pass or a distinction. To achieve a pass in the knowledge test, the apprentice must achieve between 70 and 84% of the correct answers to pass the assessment. The apprentice must achieve 80% or more of correct answers to gain a distinction in the assessment. The grading for the observation will be based on descriptors that you can see in blue on the screen. Please see the assessment plan in more detail for these descriptors, and I would work through these descriptors with your apprentices to make sure they do understand what a fail looks like, what a pass looks like, and certainly what a distinction looks like. So the overall apprenticeship grade will be based on the grades achieved from these two assessment methods, so the knowledge test and the observation. So to achieve a pass, the apprentice must achieve a pass in both the observation and the knowledge test. If either of the endpoint assessments are not achieved, the apprentice would not achieve the overall apprenticeship. To achieve a distinction in the apprentice must achieve a distinction in both the observation and the knowledge test. If a pass is achieved in one assessment and a distinction is achieved in another, the apprentice would achieve an overall pass for the qualification. Now, what we're doing here, the next couple of slides, we're going to take you through a journey, a client scenario, and run through some suggested treatment running orders to allow for the day to go smoothly. So this slide is preparation for endpoint assessment. So please ensure that apprentices have a number of mock EPAs to fine-tune treatments, timings, flow, and build their confidence. Try to do the mocks with other apprentices that will be present so they can get used to the timings, etc. Have someone external come in and examine them and provide them with feedback. This really will help with their confidence and improve their time on the day. If they forget to do something or do something wrong, build confidence and resilience for them to correct what's needed for the endpoint assessment, so that runs as planned. Have models and backup clients ready for the endpoint assessment day. Ensure the running order schedule is uploaded or sent to the EPA team for the IEPA to know the order of the day. Also, ensure that there's enough time for the EPA, 5 hours plus turnaround time, 30 minutes would be. Lots of apprentices are not getting the breaks that they need in between their turnaround, so try to schedule the apprentice a break at a similar time, and then the second session can begin, and I'll go through this further with you. Ideally, have your planning meeting with your IEPA, as this will assist you in the expectations and you'll be able to plan better for that day, so it will run smoothly. So on the day of the endpoint assessment, the IEPA will arrive 30 minutes prior to the booking time to meet the centre contact and get organised. The third-party consent form will be given to the centre contact for all clients to sign, and this is for the consent to use their photographs for training purposes. If client record cards are not available in the room, the IEPA may wish to see these to ensure patch tests have been completed, so have them available if asked, or evidence of the patch test. The IEPA will do a short introduction which will welcome the apprentices prior to them starting their clients. And once the endpoint assessment starts, the apprentices are free to complete their treatments as planned. The IEPA will be taking before and after images of hands, feet, eyes, and makeup. Sometimes one of the lead endpoint assessors, independent endpoint assessors, will join the IEPA. They're not there to observe the apprentices at all. It's for support and quality assurance on the IEPAs and the EPA processes. So don't worry if there will be two there. One is for support, as a support role for the IEPA. Now let's take a look at client consultations and treatment planning. Client consultation forms can be completed by the client prior to entering the room. The therapist is expected to run over this and confirm treatment plan with the client prior to starting the observation. The IEPA will hear this information. It's really important that they hear this information. Don't have your apprentice complete lengthy forms as it impacts on their timings. The IEPA must see the treatment plans and consultation cards, or the IEPA may ask the centre contact to view these client cards and evidence of tests prior to the EPA starting. If consultation occurs in the room at the time of the EPA, the IEPA will be observing and listening to this. The main thing is the IEPA hears the consultation and treatment planning as part of this observation. Although treatment plans can be basic, we would expect as part of the EPA, the therapist discussion to be more in detail about the treatment plan before and during the endpoint assessment, especially if the therapist is aiming for that distinction level. We would also expect the therapist to provide thorough home care and aftercare and treatment recommendations verbally, if possible, and best advice over to explain to the clients, so again the endpoint assessor can hear this information. Again, don't have lengthy evaluation forms and aftercare forms to complete. Make it a simple tick box so it doesn't impact on the endpoint assessment time. Now we have two scenarios for you here. So these are only suggestions, suggested timings and examples of client scenarios for the endpoint assessment. And because there's no stipulated times or recommendations for treatment timings within the EPA pack, we are finding that apprentices are coming in well under expected treatment timings for one treatment, but going over or using up this time moving from treatment to treatment. So here's an example. 15 to 20 minutes back massage, 30 minutes manicure, pedicure, but additional time spent on waxing. This does not show that they can run a commercial column to time or carry out services which provide a high level of satisfaction for the client. It's our view that a manicure and pedicure it would be expected to take 45 minutes to complete to a standard. 1 hour for a facial, 30 minutes for a massage, 20 minutes for a lash tint, 30 minutes for makeup with additional 15 minutes for lashes and penciling, 45 minutes for waxing 2 areas. And that would really give you a breakdown of 4 hours and 50 minutes treatment time in total. Now, a tip here, some of the smaller things can have an impact on the apprentice being failed or not achieving its distinction. So it really is attention to detail. And that is going to be their health and safety, their cleanliness, making sure that they're talking to their client and letting their client know what they're doing. Now, this is just a suggested treatment or running order of the day. So the morning session, we're looking at 3 hours with waxing, hand and foot treatments, makeup and brow treatment. Then they would have a break. This 30-minute break would help them to turn around their area to set up for the afternoon session, and a 30-minute lunch break. And the afternoon session would be a 30-minute back, neck and shoulder massage and a facial with a lash tint. So it's only a suggested running order for you on the day, and it would just basically allow for the client to have a more relaxing experience if everybody was working, doing the same treatments at the same time, so the salon will be nice and quiet. So we're going to look here now at the contingency. So following COVID-19, temporary discretions have been extended to the 28th of February 2022. Following this date, apprentices will be assessed against the requirements as set out by the endpoint assessment plan. So COVID-19 temporary discretions for the beauty professional standard in England will now end on the 28th of February 2022, as confirmed by the Institute for Apprenticeships and Technical Education. So further information can be found if you go to the further guidance link and scenarios. At City and Guilds, we understand the challenges you and your apprentices are facing, and due to social distancing and other local restrictions and containment measures, we're committed to supporting you through these challenging and exceptional circumstances. We've created an updated guidance to help you understand the range of dispensations, flexibilities and discretions for the hair and beauty apprenticeship standards and through all stages of the apprenticeship journey on programme gateway and endpoint assessment. We will continually update the information and guidance relating to the dispensations and flexibilities for the assessments due to take place throughout the remainder of 2021 until summer 2022. Information regarding the standards for hair and beauty. COVID-19 measures have really thrown a spanner in the works, if you like, but we will keep you updated as we move through the year. So now I'm going to take you to some lessons learned, and these have come through from the Lead and Independent Endpoint Assessors report. Now, I would suggest everybody, to go onto the website and download a copy of this. You can also find this on EPA Pro. It really does break down where we're up to with the endpoint assessments and where the overall performance sits. So in the report, you will have an introduction, an overview of performance, areas of good practice, recommendations, advice for the endpoint assessment customers, and some additional information. And our overall performance, the way the beauty therapist sits at this moment in time, is the passes of 58%, zero revisions, shouldn't be any merits on there, and distinctions 13%. So let's have a look at some good practice for this endpoint assessment. So we appreciate all organisations and businesses have differing policies on dress code and appearance for their therapists. But during the endpoint assessment, we expect the therapist to adhere to a high industry standard, especially when working towards a distinction level. And these will include short, neat, manicured, unvarnished or gel polished nails, clean ironed uniform, hair neatly tied away from the face, professional day makeup, enclosed shoes. They also maintain an effective health and safety practice prior to, during and after the endpoint assessment, including clearing away the morning session treatments or being able to close the curtains so it's not visible. About neatness, it's about neatness, organisation and maintaining professionalism, hygiene throughout this session. The professional behaviour, conduct and conversation with the client, they maintain that at all times. No discussions with other therapists. The most important person in that therapist's world at that time is that client that is lay on the bed or sat in the chair, not the other therapists in the room. So if we look at the models and clients for the endpoint assessment, it's the centre's responsibility to supply the models and clients for the endpoint assessment, as well as to ensure the relevant patch sensitivity tests have been completed. It would be recommended for the therapist to not know the client, but that is just a recommendation. Have clients that are suitable for treatment, not too hairy, really good set of nails, like we need a blank canvas. Have a backup client just in case there's a no-show or illness. Again, have lots of mock run-throughs with clients a couple of months prior to the endpoint assessment, and that's to allow the hair to grow back if they are going to know that client. Professional behaviours, really important, so that they hold professional conversations, their general overall professionalism while working in the salon, treating the EPA as an official exam. Again, I will reiterate, not talking to other therapists or being too familiar with the client or their own model. Health and safety is really important, and discussing the treatment planning and next steps. And these are all key tips for that apprentice to try to achieve a distinction in their endpoint assessment. Now, our lessons learned here. So if we look at the waxing service first, watch the techniques. This is what's been coming up quite a lot. Stretching of the skin during application and removal, ensuring there's no wax residue left on the skin. Double dipping is not allowed. General health and safety, cleaning wax if it's spilled over, and addressing where that's appropriate. Making sure they throw the spatulas and strips away in a pedal bin and not leaving the items on their trolley or a surface. Again, not having the clients too hairy, but just got enough hair. Don't overcomplicate this. If it's easy to do hot wax, do it. If not, don't. Sensitivity tests and testing wax temperatures on self before the client. Really, we don't want the apprentice to forget their basics. Timings on the waxing, as I stated, they are going over on waxing. So it's really practice, practice, practice. As most apprentices are failing due to waxing timings and techniques, and that's the biggest one here. So if we take a look at the hand, nail and foot treatments, using the correct filing techniques on the nails, health and safety guidelines, placing their implements back into the barber side after they've used them, disposing of the waste products correctly, not placing tools and products on the bed or elsewhere that isn't lined or in line with the health and safety and best practice. The posture of the clients and therapists when performing foot treatments. Some sit too high and risk injuring to themselves, and it looks uncomfortable for the clients too. And polishing techniques and finish, again, select suitable clients for the feet and for the nail and for the hands, and making sure that, you know, the hand or the foot is a French or a dark polish. Now let's take a look at the facial treatment. The big thing that's been coming up here is that some of the apprentices have been forgetting massage movements as part of the range, especially to potent. So check all ranges are met. Again, heated towels or steamer, unless dispensations or discretions are being used, but they do need to use some form of heat. Do the eyelash tint while the mask is on. That will help with timings, and you would expect that in industry anyway. So make sure that they stick to that full hour for their facial. So we'll look at the lash and brow treatments. Check techniques of application, especially false lashes. Ensure all ranges are covered with their lashes, the eye treatments. Provide a basic massage service. Again here, cover all range and massage techniques, especially to potent. Remembering to check the client's well-being, pressure, and also check the beginning of the consultation. Have you had a massage before? What type of pressure do you normally like? Any areas of concern? And it's really good, as a therapist myself, I always check my pressure, making sure that, you know, the client's really feeling comfortable. Take the time, don't rush. Apprentices need to take a breath, so it's getting them to breathe. The massage does need to be 30 minutes, and some of these massages are coming in at 15 to 20 minutes. So please make sure they are going to timing on this. So with the makeup, again, maintaining health and safety here, dispensing products or using sanitizing sprays, but make sure all health and safety is adhered to. And then that professional discussion, you know, it's like practice professional discussions in preparation for the day would support the process to run smoothly and again in good time, so it's not all rushed. Now we're coming to the the last couple of slides, these are mine and Emma's details. As we also have a link there for the COVID web pages where all the updates are added. And please feel free to contact us with any specific queries or further support or development needs that you may have. We're happy to provide you with specific team training and further guidance should you feel you need it. I've put in this slide, these are the EPA partnership managers. We have Rebecca Hollenbeek for the Midlands, Janice Collins for the North, and Maurice Hull for the Southwest. And these ladies can help you with the EPA Pro. So they're obviously their telephone numbers there and their email addresses. And I've also put on there for you the centre support, their telephone number, and we do have a web chat that you can use on the link there. As always, we end with our webinar feedback. Now, these feedback surveys are really, really important for us because it does help us shape our future up and coming webinars. And if you can tell us exactly what you need and what you like, we can then, you know, design more specific webinars around your requirements. So you have a link there to the forms on Office, or you can take a picture of the QR code, but we really, really do value your feedback. And that brings us to the end of the presentation. And now I'm going to see if Hayley and Emma are there and they've been monitoring questions throughout the presentation. Hi, ladies.
Sarah. Hi.
Hi. There's no questions.
There's no
questions.
Wow. Oh gosh, that's a shock.
We've got a quiet audience.
Well, if anybody has any questions, would you please put them in the chat box so we can answer them for you today. You've got your lead independent endpoint assessor here, Hayley Clark, your industry manager, Emma McKay, and obviously myself, Sarah Fioda, and we are here to support you with any queries you may have. So we'll just give it a few moments, ladies, and see if anybody puts any questions in that chat box.
Oh, there's just one there that's coming, Sarah. Can the varnish be in gel for the hand and foot treatment?
No, it has to be nail polish. There is nowhere on the assessment plan it states gel. We do have gel in the qualification, but it's not on the assessment plan. So they will fail by using gel polish when it's asking for just regular polish.
Thank you. Oh, recently the COVID rules were extended until the end of February. Is that still correct?
Yes, that is. They are extended to the 28th of February 2022. And we will be keeping you updated with the IFATEs, anything that comes through from IFATE. We will do updates for you.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank
That's
you.
it. Oh, no, yes, please, the 28th of February. Is this the end date before application for the dispensation?
Yes.
And do you need an additional treatment? Do you need add an additional treatment in manicure? I'm not sure, Alison, if you want to just maybe rephrase that one. I'm not sure what the question is there.
They don't have to do the gel. They don't do gel polish on them on their endpoint assessment for manicure or pedicure. It is a polish with varnish. And they
Alison, I wonder if Alison means do you need to do an exfoliation or a paraffin wax or a foot mask or a hand mask and hand exfoliation?
They do have to do a treatment. That is actually they do have to do a treatment on the foot and on the hand.
There's nothing else there, Sarah. That's it. It's great.
Oh, thank you. What's this? Have we got anything coming through?
Sorry. So Lisa said, sorry. So can you perform endpoint assessment after the 28th of February?
Yes, you can, but there'll be no discretions or dispensations.
Excellent. And they are, just to reiterate, aren't they, Sarah? They are for exceptional use only anyway. So
Yeah,
it should be few and far beyond.
Yes, they are exceptional use only. But anything after the 28th of February 2022 would be business as usual, unless
Yes.
I put some more information out there for us.
Yeah, there's nothing else, Sarah.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. Right, well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining our webinar today. There will be a copy of these slides coming to you and a CPD certificate for joining us. And I'd just like to say thank you to Hayley and to Emma for supporting me here today, and have a lovely evening. Thank you.
Thanks,
Take care.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.